let's talk about RC drifting. Hi everyone. Those of you that know me will know that part of the RC hobby that I enjoy the most is RC drifting. It's been like that for many years, and it's something that I've always enjoyed doing, and I've been with since not the very beginning, but I've been in it a long time. So I remember back in the day before rear-wheel drive cars and counter-steer cars, when we took a four-wheel drive chassis, put some plastic tyres on it, and went and slid it about on car parks. There wasn't really much else at that point. Obviously, things have changed since then. And the reason we're talking about this now is Traxxas have announced that they are bringing out the Traxxas Fortec Drift. So this is a purpose-built, ready-to-run rear-wheel drive drift car. When I say purpose-built, I mean it was built by Traxxas as a rear-wheel drive car, derived from their four-wheel drive Fortec chassis. What I don't mean is purpose-built like your competition spec drift cars that you see out there, and that I own, a few other people own, and I'm sure that some of you guys watching this video will own as well. It is not purpose-built like them. What it is built for is one of the biggest manufacturers in the world for RC cars is Traxxas. It is built so as anyone that wants to get into our hobby, i.e. the little niche that is RC drifting, can walk into any local model shop, mainstream model shop, and buy one. So it's been released for the general public. What that means is, yes, it's a four-wheel drive chassis that's been converted to two-wheel drive by Traxxas in the factory. They haven't done a bad job on it. Okay, there's a few things that us drifters will look at and will know. All the weight is low down still because it's derived from a four-wheel drive chassis, and the steering lock is not as big as some of the competition spec cars out there. However, can someone buy it and take it outside, drift it around a car park who's never done any rear-wheel drive drifting before? Yes, they can, because Traxxas has put some very clever technology in it. So they have 3 settings on the gyro. They've got what they call TSM drift, which is basically a mode that allows you to, the only way I can explain it is drive it like a 50-50 car. So the car does all the counter steering for you, and the car can also control some degree of throttle as well. I.e., if it thinks you're going to spin out, it will reduce the throttle to hold the slide and not let the back end come too far around and spin out. For the very beginners, that is where you would start. After that, it moves on to TSM. Now what that effectively is gyro as you guys know it today, where the gyro will change the car's direction of steering, and then obviously you do the counter steer on the handset. So it's very clever at getting newbies into our hobby. Now, our hobby has always started from people messing around in car parks and stuff like that, and we'll just run through what's out there today. And through the magic of video, here they are. Okay, so up until Traxxas brought this car out, in a mainstream model shop in the UK, if someone walked in and asked about drifting, there were very limited options. You could sell them a four-wheel drive touring car and some plastic tyres, or you sold them this, which is the FTX Bonsai, which is a four-wheel drive. Effectively, it is a touring car chassis. It's got very little steering lock. It's just on plastic tyres and has got a locked rear diff to allow it to slide around a car park. The drift scene in the UK has been growing rapidly, and when I talk about model shops in this video, I mean mainstream model shops. There are obviously the niche model shops out there that have been supporting the RC drifting scene in the UK for a long time, and have become the backbone of RC drifting. Those people, anyone that's into RC drifting knows who those people are, and has always gone to those people. What we tried doing a year or so ago here, is we tried getting some rear-wheel drive drift cars onto the shelf of Wheelspin Models, a mainstream model shop, simply because, the scene's growing and we wanted to help expand that scene. So we started importing Yokomo YD2 ready to run and Reeve D chassis, just so as someone could walk into the shop, ask for a rear-wheel drive drift car and be given a bit of a choice on what they wanted to get. The main reasoning behind this was because obviously I'm into the RC drift scene and I knew that it was something that no other mainstream model shop in the UK was offering, and it was something that maybe we needed to look at. Fast forward a year and lo and behold, the scene has obviously grown in the UK, in the States and everywhere, because there are now several large manufacturers producing RC drift cars. Traxxas is one of them, producing a ready-to-run car, and Associated is another one that has announced and brought out a rolling chassis in kit form that you build up and you put your own electronics in it and everything like that. So I'm expecting a few other manufacturers to eventually follow suit. You know, they will all look at what the market's doing and hopefully they will bring out cars. So the biggest thing from this video is to point out that none of these cars are aimed at your competition spec drifter. We all spend lots of money on these, you know. This has had lots of options and upgrades put on it. It is built with one purpose in mind, and that is to slide it sideways the best that I can possibly drive it. And you know, no ready to run car is going to come out the factory and compete at this level. It's just not going to happen. So we'll just take that one off the table. And you know, are they better than this? Yes, much better than this, because it gets people into the scene where they can come to a shop, they can buy a car and they can take it and use it at their local track. So better option than this. So you'll see what's happened now is Traxxas have brought out their ready to run car, and really, you know, they've only got the Yokomo ready to run. I know MST do cars as well. MST are not stocked at any mainstream shop in the UK as yet, hence they're not in this video. So the main competitor for the Traxxas Fortec is the Yokomo YD2. Now, they're both going to come out of the box. They've both got brushed electronics. They've both got a certain degree of steering lock. So if I turn that and I turn that, and then show you guys the steering lock, it is not that much different on both of these ready-to-run cars. Okay, everyone says that, oh, you know, the Traxxas have produced this and the lock isn't that great. When you think about you're comparing it to another RTR car, not your competition spec drift cars, it is not far off the same sort of lock that you get out the box from any other ready-to-run rear-wheel drive drift car. When I say any other, I'm comparing it to Yokomo YD2. Okay, it's got brushed electronics in it, so they're both the same again, and they both come with a fairly basic handset. The main difference is your gyro capabilities and everything on this one are built into the receiver and the handset. This one has a separate gyro mounted onto the car. You can adjust both of them. I've driven this one a little bit, and you know, with a little bit of practice, you do get it around the track, and it will go around the track, not a problem at all. For beginners, I think it'll be a good place to start. You know, your YD2 again is not a bad place to start, but please bear in mind, at this moment in time, Wheelspin Models is the only mainstream model shop to have this on the shelf. So if we took that out of the equation, and talk about someone wanting to walk into any mainstream model shop, this is your choice that you're left with. So let's, you know, have a look at it, make it work. You know, it is a good starting point for any mainstream manufacturer, yeah, to get into the rear-wheel drive drift scene. I'm sure that, you know, Yokomo back in the day made four-wheel drive chassis, and they've progressed to get what they've got today, the same as this one, you know. So bear in mind that this is their first attempt at it. Okay, they have done a very good job straight out the box. The only thing I've changed on this car is we've got some buzz brakes on it, because that's what my local track run. So we've put some buzz brakes on it because I've been to the local track using it. Everything else is stock and standard. It's very different to drive because it's brushed. So I've been very used to obviously a competition spec drifter, which is brushless and everything like that. So it's a very different experience to drive. However, I have found it that, you know, you can drive it and it will work straight out the box and it will go around the track. Not a problem at all. If you guys are interested in seeing it, okay, we've got one here at Wheelspin Models. It's one of the first ones into the UK that I'm aware of that have come through proper lines. So we will be the only model shop at this time having it on the shelf for people to come and look at. If you want to see it going around, if you want to come and have a go of it, you know, I am going to try and go to some of the tracks. If you're one of those tracks and you're interested in seeing it, you know, drop me a message. We will arrange to come down and have a look at it. But I will be going to a couple of them so you can have a look at it anyway. But straight out the box, rear wheel drive drift car on the shelf at any mainstream model shop is never going to be a bad thing for our hobby, okay? And it's only ever going to grow it, and I'm hoping that other manufacturers follow suit and there will be others that come along. So well done, Traxxas.